Good to see you.
So can we start? I think we're on time.
Go on, Professor.
I'm okay. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Janvi, should we start?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Janj, please start the video. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
A very warm welcome to our flow members across India, our guests from the Yunus Center in Dhaka, and the 1,000+ students from various women colleges in Chennai. Never has there been a time when leaders are being called to take bold action as we are during this global crisis. As a national organization, we are honored to have this opportunity to listen and learn from someone who has dedicated his life to creating economic and social change through entrepreneurial innovation. It will be truly inspiring to hear him share his wisdom on leading social change and his vision for our world going forward from this pandemic with greater social consciousness. On behalf of Flow, I am truly honored to introduce our speaker for this afternoon, Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus. Professor Yunus, as we all call him, is the father of social business movement and the microcredit revolution. He is the founder of Grameen Bank, a microfinance organization and community development bank that offers small loans to the poor. He is also the founder of more than 50 other companies in Bangladesh. In 2006, Professor Yunus and Grameen Bank were jointly awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, especially in recognition of his efforts to develop microcredit into an even more important instrument in the struggle against poverty. He is the first and only Bangladeshi to win a Nobel Prize. For his constant innovation and enterprise, in March 2012, Fortune magazine named Professor Yunus as one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our time. He is the recipient of 61 honorary degrees from universities across 24 countries. He has received 136 awards from 33 countries, including state honors from 10 countries. He is one of the very few in the world to have received the Nobel Peace Prize, the United States Presidential Medal of Freedom, and the US Congressional Gold Medal. He has appeared liberally on the cover of Time magazine, Newsweek, and Forbes. And above all, he is a role model to many of us present here today. Moving on, it is also my privilege to introduce our dear National President, Janvi Phukan, to our guests and audience today. Apart from being our first member at the helm of Wiki Flow in India, she is also the first president of Flow who hails from the northeast of India. Passionate about women empowerment, Janvi strongly advocates and tirelessly works towards building sustainable livelihoods for women economic upliftment. She is an entrepreneur and co-founder of 2 National Tourism Awards winning companies. Her companies are in travel and tourism, long-distance river cruising, hospitality, tea, and textiles, all of which touch women's lives and livelihoods. She has also served as the founder, vice chairperson of Flow Northeast, chapter in the year 2007. With these words, I now hand over to Janvi and request her to take over the proceedings for this event.
Thank you very much, Rinku. Namaskar, Dr. Yunus.
Namaskar. Thank you.
আজ আমরা আপনাকে স্বাগত জানাচ্ছি আমাদের
ধন্যবাদ।
মধ্যে আপনাকে পেয়ে আমরা খুব আনন্দিত
আমিও খুব খুশি।
So on behalf of the 17 chapters of FLOW, the women's wing of FICCI, it is my honor to welcome you as the 37th National President and the first from FLOW Northeast Chapter. FLOW is the oldest chamber of commerce in South Asia for women. And we are a body of 8,000 women entrepreneurs, businesswomen, educators, and the like spread across the country. Taking a cue from your philosophy, Dr. Yunus, that poor people are like bonsai plants. If the seed of the tallest tree in the forest is put in a flower pot, that tree will only grow a meter high. And you wonder why this tree did not grow as tall as the one in the forest. It simply didn't have the proper space, the base to grow. And that is because society had denied poor people the space and the base to grow, as you so beautifully put it. And it has been your Grameen Bank that has enabled millions of desperately poor women to be empowered economically and provided that nourishing base to grow, which you have done for the last 4 decades. And from those beginnings in Bangladesh to the Grameen America that you set up in 2006 to help women who live in poverty, even in the so-called developed country. Today, in COVID-19 times, I understand there is no other organization in the US which is better placed to lift these underserved communities than Grameen America there. It is therefore a special honor for us to have you amongst us today, the banker for the poor, the champion for women's empowerment, and the climate change warrior, as all these are interrelated, people, planet, and profits. Today, by embracing technology, we at FLOW are connected closer than ever before. So here I am in Kaziranga National Park, Assam, with Dr. Yunus, just across the border in Dhaka, with my FLOW chapter chair, Rinku Mecheri of Chennai, along with our past presidents and the members, Pan-India, here to watch you. A special thank you to Rinku Mecheri and the FLOW Chennai team for putting this event together on this very pertinent topic, no going back, forging a new future after COVID-19. Dr. Yunus, I would like to offer you a small token of appreciation from FLOW in the virtual mode for now. So may I request IT to please show the slide. That's a little something from us, Doctor. We will have it sent to you in due course.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So to start off on today's, let me ask, Doctor, I've been intrigued to know that from the global financial crisis of 2008, you've always spoken on the interrelated crises of the food, finance, and climate change to illustrate the weakness of the economic system. And now in 2020, we have COVID-19 pandemic, which has brought the world economy to its knees. Could you please help us understand your philosophy about the reconstruction that you speak about versus the recovery program? And does this link with your book on the 3 zeros, the world of 3 zeros, the new economics of zero poverty, zero unemployment, and zero net carbon emissions?
Thank you. Thank you very much for your warm welcome. And thank you for the gift that you'll send to me. And thank you for inviting me to address all your audience today. I'm very happy to get this opportunity. I've been talking about the corona pandemic right now and kind of sharing my worry. Everybody's worried for something about their how to protect themselves, their family from the corona attack. That's given for everybody. But the one that I'm raising that relates to after what happens, corona is over. And there seemed to be a tremendous amount of initiative and preparation to go back to where we are coming from before the corona. And that worries me that because the world that we are coming from is not a very happy world. It was a terrible world, as a matter of fact, in many counts, not just one count. And it was demonstrated that way. People were complaining, and people were waiting to see an opportunity to get over it, particularly the global warming. Global warming didn't give us much opportunity left for us. They are even talking in terms of this decade of 20s, maybe the decade of last chance. If you don't do something drastic, world has no chance at all for survival. It may come to an end in a couple of decades more as the global temperature goes up from 1.5 degrees Celsius to 2 degrees Celsius. That will be the end of the story of the world. So that close we came. And when you look at the coronavirus pandemic, that gave us a respite. Suddenly, that jump that we are making towards the future has come to a stop. And I will give an example and kind of an analogy to see. It's like a train going to a big cliff. After that, they will fall from the cliff, and cliff is coming closer and closer. Train is running very fast. And I kept saying that, look, Corona did this wonderful thing. It stopped the train. The machine, the economic machine is not working. That's similar to as if the train has stopped. We couldn't have stopped the train. We didn't even try to stop the train because it's beyond our capacity to do that. But Corona has done that. And now we can get off the train and feel that we have a great relief this time because we don't have to end ourselves on the cliff. We have an option now, option to go in a different direction. So that's an opportunity coronavirus, the corona pandemic is giving to us. And why this world was so terrible, global warming is one. Everybody knows it. People are marching on the street against it. Governments are sharing thoughts to how to stop it. Then there's a question of wealth concentration. All the wealth of the world is concentrated in fewer and fewer hands. That is also a ticking time bomb. It will explode anytime. So that's another danger part that we were carrying with us. And the other one is artificial intelligence, which is hitting us very quickly and which will shift all the working people out of jobs. And that will be a massive unemployment situation. So all these are combining as we go. So that's a world that we don't think we should ever get ourselves prepared to go back to. So I'm saying this is an opportunity. Let's take this opportunity to go in a different direction and create a new world rather than the old world. Old world time is over. Countdown has begun. Going back to it would be like committing suicide. Why in a sane mind will try to do that? So why don't we take a wise decision that no going back? Let's go in a different direction where we will create a world with no global warming, no wealth concentration, no massive unemployment. So do we have a chance? And what are the steps that we must take to make it happen? That's the discussion we should be carrying on and coming with solutions and take the steps.
So, Dr. Yunus, we'd like to know more about your social business model.
Right.
You said that it's possible to integrate selflessness into a market dominated by the selfish pursuit of profits, and that all human beings have two aspects, the selfish and the selfless. So do tell us more about the global initiatives that you've done with the Yunus social business model, which was created to tackle poverty from bottom up with your philanthropic venture funds and top down with your corporate innovation. Please tell us more about it. And the work that you are doing, not only in Bangladesh, but around 50 plus countries with these initiatives. We'd love to know more about it.
Yes, we'll be happy to do that. You already briefly said that all human beings have two aspects in them, but economics dealt with only one aspect. That's the problem that is created for the whole world. It developed the selfish part of human being, concentrated on the selfish part of human being. So they keep saying about the maximization of profit is the goal for business. And So there is no other kind of business except for profit maximizing business. And as a result, we only look for ourselves, not what happens to our neighbors, what happens to our fellow travelers on this world. We don't worry about them, and we don't mind causing problems for them, because our only mission is to maximize profit at the cost of anything else. I said that's where created this whole problem of wealth concentration, the problem of global warming and everything else. So why don't we go back and rediscover ourselves as a human being, not as an economic being defined by economists. As a human being, we have two aspects. One is the selfish aspect, which is an important part of human being. And there is also selfless aspect, the common aspect, common interest. One is self-interest and there's common interest. So we can create two kinds of business instead of one kind of business. Nobody's forcing you to do that, but you would like to do it. If you are taught in schools, in colleges, there are two kinds of businesses, you know what they are, and you'll be wondering what kind of business you would like to do. Whether you would like to do the selfish business or a selfless business, common interest business or a single interest business. So you'll be prepared for that. Today, it's not done because economics doesn't teach you that way. So I said that's fault of the economics itself and fault of the education, which doesn't challenge it anymore and just carry it on. If we had created that common interest businesses, which we call social business, this will be a business to solve people's problem, not my problem, but people's problem in general. Poverty, global warming, healthcare, migrant workers, poor women, and all those things. These are issues that we would like to participate and find a business solution for that. That's what we did when we created Grameen Bank. It was a business solution for people who needed the service, and people didn't pay any attention whatsoever to the poor people, particularly to poor women. It's an amazing thing on Grameen Bank is all focused on poor women. 97% of our borrowers out of 9 million borrowers are women. And when it's spread around the world, including India, more and more focuses on women. And in USA, it's 100% women. Today, more and more those microcredit programs are done that way. So even a poorest woman, illiterate, never left the village in her life, but still she has the capability to take care of herself, provided some financing is available. But that finance was never delivered to her. She was a victim of the loan shark all along. So that becomes a standard for the whole world. And as a result, she remains what she is. She never dared to get into the picture and become a victim of the loan shark. So anyway, so we can do that in a business solution. So we created lots of those things. One is the microcredit. And one of the problems that we have to solve as we move from the old world to the new world is the problem of financial institutions. Financial institutions are designed the wrong way. It concentrates on making the rich people richer. That's why it contributes to the wealth concentration. So it became a vehicle for wealth concentration. So we redesigned that financial system like we redesigned it in a small way in Grameen Bank and the microcredit program. But it needs more fundamentally. The whole system has to change. The financial system should be looking at the people who are unreached so that they can be reached and they can be provided with the services that they work with. Because financial services is like oxygen to human being. If you don't have that oxygen, you cannot activate yourself. You cannot breathe. You cannot feel alive. The moment you connect with the financial oxygen, you become alive, active again, because now you have the resources to go right ahead. But that financial oxygen is not provided to more than half the population of the entire world. The design of this banking system is done the wrong way. So in the new world, we'll be creating lots of social business banks, social business venture capital funds, social business investment funds. They will be not for making profit for their shareholders, but for the benefit of the people, like creating microcredit programs and so on. So these are the things that we have to focus on, and the rest are social business. Now, social business today is in healthcare, massive way in healthcare in Bangladesh and many other countries. So healthcare, we have created joint ventures with big companies like Danone, like Uniqlo, like McCain and many other companies. They created parallel company as a social business. I said every company can create a social business company. It could be very small. Danone is a giant of a company, but it created a small company called Grameen Danone in Bangladesh to help the children, malnourished children, to become healthy. get the nourishment and so on. And there are many other such programs. Like one big example is I challenged the sports world. I said the sports world is always an entertainment world. It's always a commercial benefit for the rich companies to become richer. It has a big social power, but it's not used. So I gave example how it can be used. I said even Olympic can be a social business too. So now Paris 2024, the Paris in 24, the Olympic that will take place, they accepted this idea and they brought me into the picture to design the entire Olympic as a social business. Very simple idea. The core of this whole thing is a 7 billion euro project, the whole Olympic. And my point was right from the beginning, I said, before you spend one penny out of this 7 billion euro, you have to ask, what social benefit I get from this penny? If I'm not getting one benefit from that penny, don't spend it. So you have to design everything. What is the social benefit I get from it? And how do we translate it to a social business idea? Translate it that way. So whether you're a small microcredit program or you're a giant of an Olympic game, doesn't matter. Everybody has a role to play. Every business can play a role in creating social business and solving the problem in your street, in your neighborhood, in your village, in your city, wherever you are. You have so many problems around you. Everybody does. It's not just in Bangladesh or India. All over the world, even the richest country has enormous problems. But they sidetrack it, move on with big money. So that's the issue that I raise with the social business. Going to the new world, this will be the big force to take us to the new world.
Great. That is, there's going to be a tremendous amount of learning on this whole philosophy, how we should imbibe and learn and continue to learn from you. So I would ask, Rinku has a lot of questions for you. Let me hand it to Rinku now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You are the nearest person to me. It's in Dhaka and you're in Assam. It's
yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
thank you. Come in. Yes.
Thank you, Jahnavi. And Professor, going on now from where we had stopped our last conversation, we are aware that in the coming times, there will be many thousands of women who live away from the urban landscape and who would have lost their livelihood. How can we as enablers empower them?
Many ways. I have raised this issue after seeing this news in Indian television, all the migrant workers, millions of them going home on foot, 1,000 miles away, their home. What a shame that they had to do that. And what a desperate one must be to make a stop, take a beginning like that. So I said, coronavirus did something good, that it revealed all the weaknesses in our society. And this is one weakness they revealed. We knew that they are in the city, they work there, and we knew all along. But it was never as visible as coronavirus made it, because they push it out of flush them out of the city and put them on the highway going home. And then everybody saw and how sad the situation was. I said, the whole problem began, and we have to answer that question. Why people have to go 1,000 miles away to make a livelihood? What's wrong with our system? That we couldn't build a system where you can find your livelihood activities right near where you are born, so that you stay with your family, with your children, and you grow up to be old person along with all your friends in the same place, not in an unknown destination where nobody knows you and you're completely lost. And then suddenly a crisis like pandemic happens, you have nowhere to go except going back to where you were born. No, that's it. So why it happens? Again, I say that the very formulation of economics is the wrong way. These are labeled as what they call informal sector. This is a blanket one, the informal sector. And economists are not interested in the informal sector. Informal sector is a kind of negative one, impression that you are not contributing to the economy. You are reducing the capacity of the economy because you're not part of the economy. Economy begins with the formal sector. So that you get the job, you get the businesses, you get activities. That's what the economy is. I said they're absolutely wrong by defining it as an informal sector, giving the impression this is sort of a waiting room for the economy. It's not the economy, it's the waiting room for the economy. And you are not interested because in the waiting room, you're interested in the actual way business is taking place. So they are left out. They are trying to make a living by themselves. I said, if you redefine the informal sector, relabel it, tremendous change happens. I said, I would like to relabel it by saying it's the micro-entrepreneurial sector. These are the people who do things on their own, make things happen. And this is the big power for the whole society. And I will put at the base of the entire entrepreneurial pyramid. On the top, you have the billionaires and all that, and this, all the concentrated wealth, and goes down in the middle entrepreneurs, and these are the base entrepreneurs who are on their own. And this is the biggest part of the society. More than 50% of the labor force in countries like ours are in the informal sector, but you ignore them. And this is what happens when you ignore them. I said, why can't we call them micro-entrepreneur sector, provide all kinds of financial system for services for them, all kinds of benefits for them. Even the labor, which is a formal labor, you have created many laws to protect their interests. You have created many agencies to protect their interests. You have a whole ministry of labor. In every government, there's a minister of labor. There's a full minister there. I said, for informal sector, you have nothing. You have no institutions, nothing. No policies, no agencies to help them. They're sporadically here and there to do some training, nothing systematically. So I said, why don't you start with creating a ministry of informal sector and create institutions, financial institutions who are dedicated for these people so that they can change their own life. The entrepreneurship begins with them. And the whole country will be thriving with entrepreneurship if we reach out to those women in the villages, reach out to the young people in the villages who have to leave their village as soon as they're adult to find a job, an opportunity to go someplace else. What a shame. The guy who's just born up there and spent his early life in the village, now pushed outside his environment, completely lost. He becomes a criminal, he becomes a drug addict, he's a drug pusher, all kinds of things. Why? Because we have uprooted him. He has no root in himself. Why don't we create the businesses there? So in order to do that, we have to address one more thing. Today, the economy means urban economy. Rural economy is a kind of a back room of the urban economy. It shouldn't be like that. Rural economy should be an economy by itself. It should be a parallel economy, not a kind of appendix economy, the way economists have been treating us. Because today, whatever happened in the past is different thing. Today, technology has changed, circumstances have changed. There is no reason why everything has to be placed in urban center with all the congestion, all the pollutions, all the crimes, and all the slums and all that. Not necessary, because you used to explain that you have the infrastructure for economic thing. That's why you go to the cities. You have the financial system based there. That's why you go there. Today, it could be anywhere. Infrastructure is everywhere. Electricity is everywhere. Roads are everywhere. Communications everywhere. Telephone is everywhere. Why do we have to go to the city for doing that? And a funny thing, you are producing the primary goods in the villages, in agriculture, in everything, in forestry. You send all this thing, bulk thing, by train to the city to be processed and brought back to the villages again to sell. What a funny thing. Why don't you do it right there where it is produced? Create activities for people, young people, women, children, everybody will be there, knowing that this is what happens to our product. This is what I produce, and this is what I do, and I send it to all the world over. Not just a city. Why should city be the only consumer? The whole world is my client, my consumer. And today, we don't have to travel or send our goods through the urban cities to distant places in the world. We don't have to do that. We go straight to the world. And our phone call, today we are doing the Zoom call. Anybody, anywhere can be joining the Zoom call. Yeah. We don't need to go through the city, wait for people to come and have a conversation, stay in the hotel, nothing. You can do the same thing in the village. You don't have to go to the city. Yesterday, we just launched a microcredit program in Yemen. It's called Grameen Yemen. And the first time we are disbursing money to the women with all the burqas and everything. It's a war going on. But they're launching a microcredit program, Grameen Yemen, and invited all of us to join. And we are in the Zoom talking to the women in the village. They are translating it. And same thing, same language that we speak in Bangla. Same human life thing, not the language as a language, but as an experience of life, similar thing. So this is why we should create village at the center of our activity. And we make a commitment that nobody have to leave their place of birth for basic living. If you want to do more, you go anywhere in the world. For basic living, you don't have to leave the village. Village has enough opportunities for that. Why all the universities have to be located in the city? Why can't they be in the village? So that our children don't have to go to the city because the university is there. Why should they then get used to the urban life and don't want to come back there? Here you have this universities, you have the colleges, best quality college. The urban kids will come to study here because we offer real life and the real education together. It's not separated from each other. And you send your child to this college at the university, he or she becomes artificially trained person without having any root, not knowing how this thing, how the chicken grow, how the cattle grow, how trees grow. He has no idea how the crops come in because they have not seen it anymore. So you detach from the real life. So we have to redesign the whole thing. That's why when we say we go to the new world, this is what I meant by new world. You have your old thinking has to be abandoned. You have to come with the new thinking and create a new world. This is the greatest opportunity we ever had. Everybody has one great opportunity, maybe in a lifetime. A nation may have a great opportunity in a lifetime. Now we have a whole global great opportunity, not only in a lifetime, in centuries. We must use this opportunity.
Great. Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you.
My next question is, what can we do to help our younger generation imbibe the philosophy and mindset of social businesses into their entrepreneurial mindset?
Yeah, sure. It's a very simple thing. First of all, I would say that as the child is born, as a mother is taking care of the child, start talking to the child, the parents and the families talking to, gradually start talking that as you grow up, what will you do? What will you do? So, the children are bought a stethoscope, carrying, I'll become a doctor when I grow up, with stethoscope. Or I'll become a pilot, here's a little cap and I'll become a pilot. Or I'll become a police, he displays a police badge and so on. So they have something to do. All the thing we have to say that what you do in your future, you can be a job seeker or you can be a social entrepreneur. You can be an entrepreneur. It's your not only social entrepreneur, you can be an entrepreneur for making money for yourself, no problem. But these are the options. Today, we tell all our young people, get ready, study hard, go to the best school so that you can get a best degree and get a job in the best company. That's the only language you have, as if that is the destiny of human being. That is not the destiny of human being. Job is not the destiny. Job is a wrong direction of human life. Job takes away all your creative power. I said, why damage a human being, a young creative person, push him into a slot, to fit into a slot in a big machine? And ever since, he or she is trying to fit into that slot better and better, that slot will be slightly better. You are a giant of a human being. Why should you try to fit yourself into a little slot? You forgot who you are, where you brought yourself. So be yourself, be as big as you can be, because that's what your destiny is, and change the whole world. Each one of you can change the whole world. So what I'm saying, it should begin at home. Family is saying that, and then goes to school education system telling you that these are your options. You can change the world, but you take your pick. How you do that? You can become a job seeker. You can become an entrepreneur. And if you want to become an entrepreneur, these are the steps. This is how others became entrepreneurs. This is how your neighbors became entrepreneurs. You tell them. And these are the institutions waiting for you. There is no such institution today. No banks ever come to a school saying that I'm ready, waiting for you. If you want to be an entrepreneur, come to us. We have this whole bank dedicated to you. Make sure that you succeed. We have all kinds of things to tell you. Please contact us. Here is our number. Here is our address. Here is our flyer. But all the recruiters come. If you join our company, we have this, you have our retirement benefit, this benefit, that benefit. Sign up. We'll take care of you and come and check with us. Recruiters come, but not the investors, not the bankers, not the investment funds, not the venture capital funds. No, nobody. So that's the micro entrepreneurs we lost right there. So we have switched the micro entrepreneurs to become a tiny little job seeker. What a shame. A human being which is ready to change the world You cut off their wings and make them work in a little thing as a robot. We are not robots. We are human beings. We have lots of creative power that we damage in our education system. So our education system has to change. Our thinking process has to change. So we come back to the same issue again and again. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. We know you as the father of microfinance, the inspiration for thousands in social business. But moving away from what we know about you, could you please share with us what you like to do when you're not teaching or guiding?
That's what I do. When I'm not doing something, I'm thinking about the next one I have to do. The next one right now I can share with you as we do the coronavirus. And I was talking about what a great chance it is. At the same time, I'm pained by saying the vaccine. Because everybody's saying the vaccine is the ultimate end of this period. And now we can be safe, we are protected, we can reclaim this planet from the virus. Because the virus invaded us, now we reclaim it, that will be, vaccine will be the one which will make it happen. And what happened to the vaccine? Now the vaccine companies are making announcement, very, very strange announcement. It's coming at such and such at the end of the year, but our productions are reserved by United States. One company already announced, Sanofi, from French company. Another company announced is AstraZeneca, announced that all our productions, first production reserved for Europe. I said, my God, each company comes and then gives to the highest bidder. We have no place. Where do we go? Either we have it our own or we have to wait for them to come over and do that. So I made an appeal and invited people to sign it. So very distinguished people around the world signed it, Nobel laureates, big business people, including business people, business leaders from India and many other countries, film actresses like Shabana and others, George Clooney and all those, they signed up, asking to declare the entire world to declare corona vaccine as the global common good, meaning that it has no owner. The moment commercial interest gets into it, world becomes different. They want to make money because shareholders want to make money. So making money means I sell it to the highest bidder. Why should I come to you? Who are you to claim this? So we don't have it. We will not have it. So I said, only solution is we make it a common good. It's with no ownership. Polio vaccine was like that because the person who designed it, developed it, he himself said, this has no owner. I declared this one has no owner. This is people's vaccine. It belongs to everybody. So why don't you make corona vaccine as a people's vaccine so that everybody can produce it? You can produce it, I can produce it, so anybody can produce it according to the specification that they will give it to us. So this is what I was pleading. At the same time, I'm saying that now that the vaccine is the end of the story, this will be good opportunity seeing what it is happening. Why don't we create a social business pharmaceutical company? Meaning that we are not interested in making money from anybody. Our interest is to bring the products, bring the vaccine, bring the medicine to the people at an affordable price because we are not interested in making money. So the whole pharmaceutical industry is manipulated by or dominated by half a dozen companies in the world. Thus, they are the owners of all the patents and everything. So because nobody else is there. So they decide how to produce, what to produce. And as a result, there are 12 diseases which are known as orphan diseases. Nobody produces any medicine for that because they think they cannot make money out of them. So they don't. It's making money. It's not saving life. So why don't we create social business company, social business pharmaceutical company? So this is another one that is now going in my head, how to design it, how to do it, where do we get it? So I'm always looking for something. So you said, what do I do? This is what I do. And talk about it, trying to get people's support to do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. But I'm still determined to take you away from what we know about you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we're going to have, before we come back to the last part, which will be about the Unicenter in Bangalore, which I'd like you to touch upon later, just a few minutes on letting flow members and our youngsters here get to know you a little better. This is a rapid fire round, Professor, and I've taken the liberty of planning it. So you'll have to answer these. Which is your favorite place under the sun?
My home.
Oh, thank you.
That's the best place, yes.
A favorite book other than your own?
That I can tell. There are so many of them. It's interesting. Thank you.
One memory or person who brings a smile to your face?
Ah, as always, first borrower in Ramin, the conversation that I had with her, explaining how she made such a little money because she didn't have to buy, she didn't have the money to buy one bamboo. She makes bamboo stool, beautiful bamboo stool, extremely poor. But if you see the bamboo stool in front of her house, it's quite a contrast. These are beautiful, freshly made bamboo stool. Here's a rotten down house she has to live. And for one bamboo, because she cannot buy to make it, she had to go to the loan shark. And loan shark, this is 5 taka, less than 5 rupees, to buy a bamboo at that time in the 70s. And nobody could do it. So when I said, well, what happens if somebody gives you that 5 taka? She said, I can buy the bamboo. I don't have to give it to the loan shark. The deal is I sell everything, quote unquote, sell everything to him at the price he decides. If I can sell it to the market, I can get a lot more, double the money that I can get. So immediately I make lots of money. I can pay him back anytime, but nobody will give me the 5. So that's my first investment I made. And I always remember that conversation.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. One personal accomplishment you are most proud of? I know you're the most humble person I know, but still.
Well, I would say my feeling of being useless. I was taken over, see the Bangladesh and the famine in 1974, big famine, lots of people died in that famine. And I was teaching economics in a university in Chilegan. So suddenly I felt that economics is totally useless subject because what I teach has nothing to do with the people who die. I cannot do anything for them. Economics never taught me how to help people. Economics taught some abstract things and so on and so forth, which has no meaning in their life. So I thought I'm totally useless. Spend my time totally uselessly learning all these things. So I was trying to find my use, how to make myself useful. So I went to the village next door every day to see if I can be useful to at least one person. Just useful. I don't know what does it mean be useful. Something to be helpful, something to be some way relevant to his or her life. So this is it. So in the process, what I did, basically rejection of the thing that I learned. Because I am saying that this is a subject which crippled me and my mind is totally gone, contaminated by all those ideas, wrong things. So I should learn from the people who live next to me. So campus is just next to the village, so I was very easily can talk to them. So that defiance, I think, was the most best thing that I do. If I didn't defy it, I would still be part of it and still be teaching and writing and whatever it needs to be in academic. So I couldn't restrain myself going out of being academic. Everybody say, hey, are you still an academic? You are still in the university, but why are you doing this? Because I said, I don't like that. This is a wrong thing. I'm teaching my students, the young people, the wrong things. I can't take it. So I have to learn first before I can tell them. And I have to be convinced myself. And then I can communicate to my children or students. That's it.
Great. Thank you so much. That was really, really insightful. And I'm sure all of us got to know a little more about you. I'd now like to open the platform for questions, and I'd invite Janvi first to ask the first question. Janvi? Janvi, you're muted.
Sorry. Would you want me to come in or would you like to take the questions first?
Shall we do it? Whatever.
I'll come in later. Yeah. Let the others ask.
All right.
Opportunity.
Sure. So we have a question over here. I'll read it out, Professor. It says,
go ahead.
She says, I am Bela Rajan, member of the governing board of FLOW from Mumbai. I represent one of the leading communications agencies in India. It's always been a pleasure to listen to your views on microfinance. In the current scenario, the government and many states in India are waiving loans. giving moratorium and freebies for the below the poverty line people. Under these circumstances, what is the future of microfinance companies and what steps do they need to take to survive?
Well, this is a very common question because of the situation now.
Yeah.
Everything is deadlocked, everything is going under. And I try to encourage those who get depressed about it. I said, look, we have a long 42 years of history in Grameen Bank. And we go through a flood of some kind every year. It's a tiny flood, big flood, and so on. Every 10 years, we have a massive flood, almost every 10 years. That's a decade. And 1988 flood was told that it is the worst flood in a decade because about 60% of the country was under flood. Then the next year, 89 flood was billed as a worst flood in century because the little steamers are flying on the city roads in Dhaka because you cannot go into the first floor. You can go only the second floor because the first floor and everything is under flood. So you are virtually on a water city, nothing else. So you communicate with the river boats and so on. So we go through that every year. And this is where Grameen Bank spread. So the flood, when it comes in a local flood or a regional flood or a massive flood, it takes away everything. The when flood water goes over your roof, you don't have a house left. You have no animals left. You have no chickens left. You have no possessions left. You are lucky that you saved yourself and your children and whatever little possession you could take with you. Because we try to get them to dry place because there's no dry place around you. And our responsibility as a Grameen Bank to make sure their life starts all over again. This is zero, not just lost something. Corona is nothing by that. You still have your home, you still have your animals, you still have everything. So I said, why are you worried? This is a frequent, regular feature. It's not a once in a lifetime feature. And then on top of the flood, we have the cyclones. If you read newspapers, you'll see Bangladesh hit by a big cyclone. We are used to it. And in cyclone, everything is blown away. And these are the poor people who get hurt the most. Whatever little thing they have built is all gone. So what do? We go back again. And our motto, common discussion is, okay, this year's flood is gone. Let's get ready for the next flood. Because we know the next flood is coming. So we have to get ready. And we tell our young, staff, all the people who work in Grameen Bank, or the young people who see, Grameen Bank is not about money. You have to understand that. Grameen Bank is about people. If the people are not here, Grameen Bank has useless organization. So don't worry about the money. If people are alive, money will be back again because they need the money and you can serve them. So that's how we did. And Grameen Bank is a bank which continues to maintain very high level of repayment. We have not gone into losses except for historical 1 or 2 years. Yeah. We always recovered it. So don't worry, because we adjusted everything according to their. If you can't pay, if you're just emerging from the flood, we say, forget about your loan. That's not what we are for. We are for you. What do you need now? Tell us how you start your life. If you can start your life, our money will come back. That's not a problem. You will give it back because we'll freeze that money for you. We'll say, okay, you just move on. That's the spirit that you have to go from their side of the story, not your side of the story. Everybody's talking about your side of the story. Oh, I lost this. Our default rate is so high. Forget about those default rates. How can they pay you back if they don't have anything? So first you have to start this cycle of earning something. And after flood, we say, even if you can make 50 paisa a day, make 50 paisa a day. Doesn't matter. It's a beginning. After your first 50 paisa after the flood is the most important paisa that you ever earned because you started the engine. So don't sit around and lament what you lost. Make decision that your life must be better than what it was before the flood. It has to be better than what you had. And that's the spirit that you have to. So this is the way you have to redesign things, work things, and it will happen. So if you feel depressed, you see, how come Grameen Bank is still alive? What is their trick? Where did they find all this money? to make. We don't take money from outside. Donors don't give us money. It's all our own money. So our own money is used. It's borrowers' money, their deposits. This is how we work it. And they sustain itself and pay for all these thousands of staff that their salary was never stopped for a day. No matter what the situation, we know that it will work out. They are never in doubt that, oh my God, maybe I'll be losing my job. No, as long as you can keep your people happy, you have a very strong job here. That's how it has to work.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm sure that answered Bela's question. The next question is from a past president, Ranjana Agarwal. She says, I understand that you have been advocating that the poor must be given subsidized capital through the SHG model. Others feel that unless the intervention is for profit, it cannot be sustained. What are your views on this?
Views is the concrete facts. There is no subsidized thing in Grameen Bank. No subsidized at all. We are a regular business. We take deposits. Our interest rate for deposit is slightly higher than the deposit rate of any other bank because we want to give good return to our borrowers because they are the main depositors of our bank. The total deposits in Grameen Bank right now, let me give you some example. We have lent out over $3 billion in loans last year. The total deposit of the borrowers is over $3 billion in the bank right now. So their deposits is much bigger than their loan that they have taken. So this is the situation. This is just their own money. They just deposit tiny deposits every week. This is a weekly thing. This is part of their habit making. In the beginning, people ask, are you kidding me? Poor people saving money? They are known as people who are deceiving money. They sell everything for survival. I said, no, everybody has the capacity to save even a penny, even 1 paisa. It's okay if you save 1 paisa, but every week you must save something. And that's what has grown now with $3 billion and so on. And they're so proud of that. So, and then we take deposits from others too. And that's the money that we lend out to the people. So it's not the money given to somebody else. And when the disasters come, it's our money which goes out, not somebody else's money which goes out. So we create our own disaster funds. So we know that happens. So the disaster funds accumulated in the disaster. The moment it happens, disaster money goes out first. It's like an insurance fund. You accumulate it over years, over months and so on. And only one area of the country is under flood. So all the money is accumulated and goes in that direction to save that part. So you don't have to go and stretch your head for somebody else. So you remember self-reliance is the key to the entire thing. It's a business, it makes profit, and profit goes back to the borrowers because borrowers are the owners of the bank. They sit in the board of the bank. They elect their representative to sit in the bank. So it's not the rich people, it's not the wise people from a university sitting on the board of this Grameen Bank. It is the women in the villages. There are 9 members of the board who are elected by the board members, the borrowers, and they're all coming from the villages. Hardly have any writing or reading skill, but they make decisions of this largest bank in the country and runs very well. There's a best bank in the country. So it's a misconception that is a kind of subsidized charity, nothing of that sort. And that's the way kind of banks we promote that banks should be. Only thing we say, the microcredit bank, as we design, should be social business bank. No rich guy should be owner of a bank for the poor people to make money for themselves. That's not the good idea. It should be a business to help people. It will be creating surplus. Surplus will be applying back into the business rather than be taken by the rich people. So it should be a social business. Okay.
Great. Yes. Thank you so much. I think I'll take one more question and then I'm going to hand over to Janvi. We have with us in the audience today Mr. N. Ravi, who is actually from the family that runs one of the leading dailies and media groups in Chennai and Tamil Nadu, The Hindu. So Ravi had actually requested to listen in on your event today, and he is our special guest. He has an observation and a question related to this. He says, with rural life, rural economy much less affected and less urban areas, and with reverse migration from urban to rural, how do you see the How would you reorder rural life and rural economy? I think you answered that earlier. He also says, would it be a good idea to dispense higher wage industries from cities into rural areas? Of course, taking care to protect the environment and make them sustainable.
Of course, just thank you for joining. Hindu is a very famous newspaper. We get copies of it. Occasionally read it in the internet. And Grameen Bank was covered by Hindu all along. This is one paper, always followed what we do. It's very elaborately. I'm very grateful for that paper. Yes, there are, as I said, the situation has changed, technology has changed, communication has changed, transportation has changed. So there's no reason why location-wise things cannot be done. It's just to take an example at random, all the call centers, they don't have to be sitting in the cities answering the question coming from the USA or someplace else. They can be beautifully living in their home in the city, in the villages, and answering questions wherever they're coming from. And there will be call centers for the cities, answering questions from the villages. If you can answer questions for USA from Indian cities, folks in villages can answer the questions from cities and the rest of the world at the same time. These are the same kids. Whether you push them into go there in that cubicle to answer the question, or be at home and answer the question, or be at a convenient place near to their home can be done. So all IT related in business that you have, designing softwares and so on, you don't need any other kind of facility except for your telecommunication facility and so on and so forth, which is very highly improved right now. So it could be in the villages. And all the processing industry, as I was giving example, you carry all those primary produce to carry to the city to be processed and be brought back again to sell to the consumers in the rural areas. I said, this is a crazy thing. They're clogging up the roads for doing nothing, going back and then creating global warming by doing that. Carrying all this transportation back and forth. You produce it wherever it is bought. What is it? It can be done today. And as I say, and all the health industry today with the digital health and so on, you can have an excellent medical care in the villages. The good air, you're not living in the congested and polluted air in the cities. You live there in the villages and enjoy yourself and have good health there and get the best health service possible in the rural areas. Patients will come from the cities to you. Why should you send your patients, your family members, struggle to go to the city, live there, don't have anybody to stay there, and you don't have enough money to do? Why should you do that? It should be there. So where the business is, where the possibilities, every single one of them can come. Whatever cannot come can stay. But everything else can come right away immediately. Then other opportunities will come, and all the export-oriented businesses and so on doesn't have to be located in the congested cities. It could be located anywhere, and can be processed and sent to the. You see, look at the garment industry in Bangladesh. It's another example. 4 million women work in the garment industry in Bangladesh, and the coronavirus again showed how terrible it is. In this situation, first it was locked down, all the factories were closed, they have to go back home. And suddenly it is announced the factories will be opened, come back. Within 24 hours, there no transportation, nothing. They are again walking, but this walking is less than what you have in India, 1,000 miles. This is 100 miles or so. They're coming back a few hundred miles to come start the work there. So the point that I'm making, people live in the village. You bring them in a congested place, all these women living in the cities, in the slums, in the vulnerable areas of the cities, and you risk your life, and your family is worrying about you because they're back home. Why didn't you take the factory in the village? People are there, you process it. It doesn't need a very fancy, heavy industry sort of establishment. This is just rooms, big set up little machines. And they will be coming and enjoying, go home, cook, and find there with the family, with the children. What is wrong with that? And if you want to concentrate, you can have a little cluster here, little cluster there, little cluster there. It's okay. Whole Bangladesh is one place. It's nothing. So that's a kind of thing. It's a ridiculous thing that you have to come to bring all those 4 million people in just a tiny space, make them work, and they go back home. And when a festival day comes, when Eid day comes, you'll see millions of these women and their families going back home, trying to hang on to the train, hang on to the buses to go home before the Eid. And after the Eid, again coming back to join, because if you don't join, you lose your job. This is a crazy thing. It doesn't make sense. Somebody really screwed up the whole thing to kind of visualize and create those kind of situations. This is the point I'm making. It could have been done completely. Still, we have time to redesign. I said, please think about our rural economy as an independent economy. It should be dealing with the urban area in at the stand of equal, not as a minor kind of less powerful partner, or even not a partner. It's a kind of appendix. Your fate is tied with us. If we don't give you a job, you're nothing. You're finished. So you better come and clean our house, before I give you a job.
True. Thank you. Janvi, over to you.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Professor, what you're saying so resonates with what we think in the Northeast. When I took over this time as the president, my first thing was that we want to work towards sustainable livelihoods and sustainable practices. And, coming from where we do in the Northeast, it's all about sustainability. And like you have so rightly pointed out to all of us, that is the way we could live from where we are, like you pointed out. We all go back to our own areas, with our tamul pan growing, our coconut trees growing, and we live up. The women who brought the areca nut, the tamul plates, which is now an export unit. And the independently women have that machinery. They can use the areca nut. They can make their tamul plates. Likewise, for the water hyacinth that grows wild, the small tea growers who are sustaining themselves, and all the young people who are coming back to the Northeast now, the agripreneurs who've started, they are doing such a good job themselves. And they're all getting sustained. I think Gandhiji's dream that he had, that we should all go back to the villages and become intelligent, smart villages within our own ecosystem, what you have so beautifully put across. There is this new smart village movement, which has started in Meghalaya and in Arunachal. And that is, so everyone is being encouraged for that we don't have to go back to, like you said, to the concrete jungle. We have everything right here. So with our thrust on sustainable livelihoods, what we at Flow have tried is that we have connected with several implementing partners and asking them to help us to reach the grassroots. So all our chapters, 17 chapters, all India, we are trying to adopt a village each, at least start somewhere, and work with the local NGO and enthuse the NGO who's working with the woman-led enterprise. And they are helped to scale up with our consulting partner. We have partners from Holland called Women on Wings. So these are little efforts from our side. And since it's come in these times, it's so right what you say, that all our women, all our men can find their work within our own ecosystems. And someday with the smart village movement instead, we should be slowly going back to our own places. And the fact that the young people who are coming back to the smaller towns, smaller villages, they think we have technology, like you pointed out. They can jolly well work from wherever they are and still contribute. Especially excited for the women who are always left behind and who had left their workplace to have their children and they wanted to go back to the workplace. Now they can work from home. So become their homepreneurs. Also the diversity factor, the ones who are, the specially able can work from home. The women are being able to work from home. So there are lots of encouraging signs that we at Flow can envisage. And we are trying to bring in more, special training for our members with IIMs and the NIIT for our members and for the grassroots sectors where we work. We have NIIT and others helping us with their financial literacy, digital literacy, other courses. So in these pandemic times, we are also trying our best, and we will reach out to you for your ideas and how each of us can play a part in nation building. So
Yeah.
this is tremendous learning for us, and we always seek your support on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Rinku, you have
Yeah. Can I now invite Ujjwala to please deliver the vote of thanks, please?
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Flo, I extend my most sincere thanks to Professor Mohammed Yunus for being with us today in spite of your busy schedule. I thank you for sharing your views and vision, which are especially apt in the current times. My sincere thanks to the past president and the governing body members for joining us today. Thank you, Rinku Macheri, Chapter Chairperson of Flow, Chennai, for putting together this wonderful session. Also, I like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all the viewers who joined us from across different parts of the country. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Professor. We'll be in touch.
Thank you. Thank you, Rinku. Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you,
Lamia,
Zanvi.
Shabir, thank you so much. It's been great
Thank
working with you all. Thanks.
Thank
Professor,
thank
I
you.
will share about
But-
the Yunus Center in Bangalore and how
Yes.
we can work
Yes,
with
please.
that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. Thank you very much. That'll be great. Yeah. Keep in touch.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. We'll be in
Thank
touch.
you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Namaste.